The Life of a Showgirl is out, and Taylor Swift is breaking all sorts of records right now, as so my X feed was telling me over the weekend. Let's just go through, before we get started on all of it, the discussion about the backlash, what people are saying about it. Let's look at just some of the information that's been given about all of her numbers. So, iTunes, biggest album of 2025 based on first day sales worldwide. First and only female artist to surpass 100 million RIAA certified album units. 35 million in ticket sales for Taylor Swift's release party of a Showgirl global screenings. Her biggest first week U.S. album sales with 2.7 million copies. I believe that surpassed Tortured Poets Department, which was 2.6 million copies. New all-time record for most copies of a vinyl album sold in a single week with 1.2 units sold. As far as streaming numbers go, Apple Music's biggest album of 2025 by first day streams worldwide. Apple Music's biggest song of 2025 by first day streams worldwide for The Fate of Ophelia. Spotify's most streamed album in a single day in 2025. Spotify's most streamed song in a single day in platform history for The Fate of Ophelia. And Amazon Music's most streamed album of 2025 in just its first 24 hours. So one of the things that I've always kind of found to be true is that when it comes to good marketing, you can sell a lot of albums with these types of spam posts of all of the... One of the things I make fun of a lot these days, and in all sports do it, you know, the first of this person to do this, the first trans athlete to do this in this place, the first person of this to do this. It's a common marketing tactic to make things look better than they are, but it does look like the album is doing absolutely phenomenally. But I've seen a corresponding amount of backlash from people, which I found very interesting, because it could just be online. Again, like this is, I inhabit a mostly digital space, but for instance, I saw one thing that said that she was passing Madonna as the most successful female musician of all time. But then when you look more into it, it was like she hasn't moved as many albums, as many units as Madonna has entirely, but as far as the RIAA, that's the Recording Industry of America, yes, right? Most multi-platinum albums sold amongst women. That's what they're saying for Taylor Swift, and the all-time leader of #1 albums in the UK. So again, it's like, yes, it's a record, but that's not the same thing as saying she is the most, you know, the best-selling female artist of all time.
I do think that people need to take into account that now the way that they tally record sales is different than they did 20, 30 years ago. And it's because you've got streaming involved and they count a certain number of streams as a record sale. It is less accurate now than it was 30, 40 years ago or whatever. There are places that pad their numbers. There are places that there are outlets that pad their numbers, and just because they're getting you're getting X amount of streams on this particular song doesn't mean that equates to record sales. The way that it used to be, if you had a big hit song, right, like a massive smash song, every time that, like every person that really wanted to listen to that song, they would go buy the record. Yeah. Even if there wasn't, you know, corresponding or other songs that they really cared about, they would buy the record because that's the song that they wanted. They would listen to the rest, and hopefully there were songs they liked or whatever. But if you had a song that got if you have a song that like gets, you know, 10 million
That was
streams,
my whole childhood with like a lot of albums.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a song that gets 10 million streams, that should legitimately count as 10 million record sales, because if, you know, apples to apples, that record's being sold or at least the fact that someone streams that song, they listen to that song over and over, that would turn into a record sale back in the day, you know, but that it doesn't nowadays. Maybe not record, you know, 10 million streams. Maybe every 10 streams from the same user you should consider it a record sale, you know, maybe.
But so one of my critiques of like, not of her music, but of the way I feel about pop music for her in general now is like when Red came out or when 1989 came out, those felt like pop songs for pop fans. Yep. Now it's like, it feels like it's almost sectored off into its own audience of these are songs for Taylor Swift fans. And that's not a knock on it, right? Like, know your audience, make music for your audience. Yeah. But when I was listening to certain songs on the album, Maybe it's just a factor of taste, and I'll talk about this a little bit later. It just felt inaccessible to me in that it just wasn't the type of stuff that I would listen to. But it just felt like a lot of ways they were adding a lot of these records to bolster the image of it. And then, of course, people are talking, we'll put this up here. Look, the movie made $46 million worldwide with no notice ahead of time. Like, this was brought up very, very recently, the release of this, like, basically a glorified music video for the Life of a Showgirl, which then has behind the scenes footage of the making of it. It made $46 million worldwide, and then it went on and made $35 million here at home. The Rock had his critically acclaimed movie, The Smashing Machine, based on the life of MMA star Mark Kerr, come out this weekend, and it made just $6 million at the box office. It didn't make any money at all, and that's The Rock, who is supposedly one of the biggest movie stars in the entire world. His name alone should sell you more than $6 million worth of tickets. If not, why is he the highest paid actor of the last 10 years? Doesn't make any sense to me. But look, there's a lot of critiques of a lot of these records. So I saw this that says the life of a record breaker. On October 3rd, 2025, Taylor Swift's The Fate of Ophelia became the most streamed single in a single day in Spotify history. And then here's the one that says that she is the 5th best-selling artist of all time, surpassing Madonna. Again, I see all sorts of information that contradicts that. She lags behind the Beatles, Robbie Williams, and the Rolling Stones in those numbers. And then you look at this, it says, has the second highest sales tally for any album ever, just one day after release, per Billboard's Luminate, has reported the album sold 2.7 million copies. And my feed was spammed with all of this information. Earned 249.99 million on the first day as far as streams on the global Spotify chart. And then this last one, Taylor Swift is expected to occupy the entire top 12 of the Billboard Hot 100 with tracks off of The Life of a Showgirl. This is the third time she has taken over the entire top 10 chart. She remains the only artist in history to do so. So now the critiques. One of the issues they have here is that she's releasing 4 versions of every album. If you want to get the acoustic versions of these songs, you're going to have to buy a separate album rather than just a deluxe edition, which she used to put all of the songs that were acoustic versions on the deluxe edition so that you got them all together. This person says, I can't with her greed anymore. Back in the day, she used to include acoustic versions and voice memos on the deluxe album. Just one album, not 4 separate albums. She's milking fans for more money because apparently being a billionaire isn't enough. And that seems to be the number one critique that I'm seeing from people is that, and she did this to herself. She cultivated a fan base as such that, they say you have officially earned enough money and you making more money by releasing more products is a problem.
Isn't it great?
I love it.
Isn't it wonderful? You make things that people like and you make money doing it, and then they stop liking you because, God forbid, you make too much money. You did something that too many people liked. Now you're a bad guy.
This one's
Taylor Swift is the same person at a personal valuation of 500 million that she is at a personal valuation of $1 billion.
Yep. This person says, now this is like, they're turning it on to critiques of just who she is, not who she is as an artist. They're not even hiding that anymore. This person said that this is in relation to her announcing her album. It says, announcing it during a podcast where they interviewed an abuser, mentioning said abuser in the podcast, hanging out with MAGAs, hasn't spoken about social issues in years, has a boyfriend who says it's an honor to play in front of Trump, uses AI. If you're wondering what podcast they're talking about Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce's podcast. And if you're wondering who the abuser is that they're referring to in such context, they're talking about Brad Pitt, which is, of course, that's not proven. That's just something that's been said about Brad Pitt. Yeah. And then we have this one.
He broke up with Jennifer Aniston and broke her heart.
I think so. No. I think it's Angelina Jolie, right? That's who he was married to after that. And
I think so.
Yeah, it's about I think it has to do with the plane incident between those two.
I didn't know they were still together. They broke up. I thought they were.
They're not together anymore.
Okay.
Okay, and then this is the one that kind of did get me. It says, it's from iTunes on X, from the iTunes X account. It says, the life of a showgirl is a confident, dazzling pop explosion that examines Taylor Swift's relationships and her fame. This person points out, before September of 2025, the last time this account tweeted was in 2019. So can we all see what's happening here? And it's embarrassing. They're basically saying she's buying up real estate from accounts with lots of followers to promote her album.
She's promoting her album. I mean, you can dislike the fact that she's promoting her album.
It's her job.
But that's literally what you do when you put an album out.
Thing is, I do think that there was a notion of Taylor Swift as an artist for a long time. It didn't matter how big she got. It didn't matter that she was that she was selling out arenas and running the most successful concert series of all time. She always was able to keep, at least from the outside looking in for certain people, this image of the girl writing songs in her room. Right. And there was a very at-home feel to that. And I think that the media push behind all of this. Now, really, if that was a baseline for your understanding of her as an artist, that should have gone away the second there was like 9 versions of every song. But, trends persist for a reason and ideas persist for a reason. But now it's kind of, there's a crack in the armor. There's a crack in the veneer for a lot of these people who were probably the type of fair weather friend that was just looking for a reason to criticize her anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said,
she's not activist enough.
She doesn't do the things that a politically correct, socially conscious person does. Yeah, right. She gave she gave some attention, or she threw some crumbs to the feminists because she wrote songs about how she got her heart broken, and she wrote songs about how she was mad at men because she got her heart broken, and that's not actually feminist. That's just kind of what women do when they get their heart broken. And it's fair enough because dudes do the same thing, all women are blah, 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 like that. That's what happens. But the leftists, the committed politically left people took that as Taylor Swift was our girl, and she never was your girl. She was always a normal woman.
She's her own person.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird when people want to be...
But the point that I'm making is she was a normal person, and these people are weirdos, right? Like, it is normal to want to get into a relationship and get married and have kids. That is normal for people to do. It has been normal for all of human history. So the idea that she's betraying her fan base because she's happy in her relationship and she's writing about what she knows, what she's experiencing in her life, which is what all artists do. They use their experiences in their life to create their art. Right? The fact that you're mad about it is a you problem. It is not a Taylor Swift problem.
This person says, Taylor Swift doesn't say anything about Palestine, anything about what Trump is doing to immigrants, and decided it was a good idea to release a song saying she likes her friends canceled. MAGA and Zionist friends, mind you. In the state of the world is in, she really chose this.
MAGA and Zionist. Right? Like
I did pull up your tweet as well here.
Oh, what did I say?
You said, amazing thread. Leftist feminists are crashing out saying Taylor Swift is part of the alt-right pipeline, and she is trad wife coded, and she's giving Nazi vibes. All because she wants to do normal. It's like every time somebody posts a picture of like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed family of 4, and they're like, "This is Nazi coded." Guys, this is a massive white pill. Most women have been fooled into believing they're supposed to be feminists, but when they fall for a good, masculine, self-actualized man, they go back to default factory settings.
Yeah. Most girls, I mean, you hear a bunch of there's more TikToks and videos on reels than you can shake a stick out of women saying, I really thought I was a feminist, but then I met my guy and he's great and we're happy and I'm so in love and I want to have kids and I want to cook him breakfast and blah, 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 blah. That is normal. Yeah. Like, women are nurturing. That's what they want. And it's not a bad thing. That's the thing that people, I think, are mistaking. This is a normal, wholesome, good thing. Women that want to take care of their men, you are the best kind of women and we love you. So like the idea that you're a bad person because you're like, hey, I'm happy with my relationship. No, you're not. You're just happy in your relationship, and you shouldn't. And Taylor Swift, whether it be Taylor Swift or, Becky down the street, neither of them should feel bad that they get into a relationship with a guy that actually treats them well and has a life that they want. Like, they shouldn't feel bad about that.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.